Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe we could ask everyone that's down the back maybe just to come up towards the front. We don't have that big a crowd in. We must have a lot of rugby fans in Offaly nowadays. But maybe anyone down the back, just come up a little bit. We're going to have a chat just with a couple of special guests, and we've two from Galway and two from Offaly, just to have a bit of a chat. And I suppose since 1980, Offaly have won 4 All-Irelands in hurling, and Galway have won 4 All-Irelands in hurling. And I think we're spanning almost that entire term with the 4 guests that we have here this evening. So, first of all, I think we'll bring up our guests from Galway. First man is widely regarded as one of Galway's greatest ever hurlers. He won 3 All-Ireland medals, 2 All-Stars, 2 National Leagues, and he was selected on the Galway team for the Millennium. An absolute gentleman, and his final man as you'll ever meet, Noel Lane. It's a long walk, Noel. And the other man we have from Galway, prior to last year, Galway won 3 All-Irelands in 80, 87 and 88 over the last 40 years. And the man who guided him through all of those, he started off as a very young man. It's hard to believe it's nearly 40 years ago when these lads won All-Ireland. But he's probably better known these days as one of the most popular figures in RT sport on the Sunday game, Cyril Farrell. He's gone the wrong way as usual. And then from we're cutting out a bit. From Offaly we have 2 members. This way, sir, over here. This from the Offaly team. Then we have 2 members in the 1918. First of all, a man that had an outstanding inter-county career, but was probably bettered by his club career. He won 2 All-Irelands with Offaly. He's an all-star. He was one of the greatest midfielders, in my opinion, of all time. He'd probably tell you he was the best. But he, with his club power, he won 4 All-Ireland clubs. He won 7 Leinster clubs. I don't think he got 11 or 12 Offaly championships, but he was a brilliant player and a great teammate. Johnny Pilkington. Hello, Johnny. And the last man up is a man who, I suppose his family have spanned Offaly hurling from the early 80s to the present day. He gave 19 years unbelievable service to the county as a player. He came back as a manager after for 4 years, and his son has carried on the tradition brilliantly for the last 11 or 12 years. He won 3 All-Irelands, 6 Leinsters, every honour in the game, and like Johnny, both of them selected on the Offaly team of the Millennium, and that's Joe Dooley. Well, lads, and Joe, he used to be quicker, Joe.
He wasn't as slow on the pitch, I tell you.
Sorry, we'll start with you, seeing as you're the oldest up here. But 1980, I mentioned, I know you started before that. You came across Offaly lads before that in your UCG days, but I suppose, as I said, nearly 40 years ago, all of a sudden, it's hard to believe. And you know, coming from nowhere, I suppose, and Offaly and Galway followed a very similar path at that time, and maybe made big inroads into the big 3. It must have been hugely exciting times.
Yeah, I remember when Offaly won the Leinster final. It wasn't that big of a crowd in Croke Park, but just a surprise. And I was at the match, and I called into a friend of mine on board, and went out to I think it was the golf club, and we looked at the match again. And like Offaly coming through, there'd been very good teams before that, but to make the breakthrough was something else. And we happened to meet in the, you know, along the way for the next few years, and I always keep saying that I promoted Offaly hurling more than anyone, because he always nearly beat us in the big games. And like, there was great rivalry built up, but you know, the biggest rivals become your biggest friends really afterwards, and I really felt at the time, and even since, for what Offaly achieved, they never really got the credit for what they did. Because I knew where they were coming from. I'd be only from Woodford across to Shannon, very near Banagher, near Laura, near this side of the county. And for a small county, half the county only hurling, if there was anyone else that I felt have got a lot more credit. But you had fantastic hurlers, like, when you think of the boys, the Dooleys here, Johnny Flaherty, Delaney, these guys, you could go through the whole lot of them. They often broke our hearts. You'd love to be able to kill them. Pilkington running up and down the pitch, and you couldn't get near them. But that's the way it was. The hurling is different now. Now, like, it's kind of possession. You kind of work it through the lines. That time you got the ball, the more or less shifted it. Like when you see the likes of Ryan Whelan, brilliant wing back, went up and probably win All Ireland full forward. All these guys were great hurlers and probably came through a system in the schools, really, like, I was delighted there a few weeks ago. I came through Kilcormac and it was early enough, and it was a Saturday or Sunday, and the Centre of Excellence was covered with squads hurling. And to me, like, that's where it all starts again. And I have no doubt this evening, like, we were favourites, Galway were favourites, but I really believe it's going to be a lot closer than people think. And if we come out the right side, we'd be looking to get out of this evening. That's the way the lads at home are looking at it. We're having a great league. Offaly always rise to Galway, like, and once the hurling is kept alive, you'll get your cycles, you get the good cycles, and then you get lulled for a while. But the main thing is that you pass on the hurling to the next generation, just like the boys in here onto Michael coming, onto the next generation coming.
Thanks, Cyril. I remember saying to Johnny Pilkington one night that Joe Dooley was some hurler. He must be one of the best hurlers of all time, and Johnny said he's not even the best hurler in his own house.
Michael was waiting all day to get on his chest. Make him open the new one.
Yeah, and I know that's a bit old, but still, I couldn't wait to get it out. Joe, Harry, I suppose you came into the Offaly squad in '82 and were there for a long time, but in terms of, I suppose, the great days, which there were for all those times, and we'll talk about maybe the season's game and the present thing in a while, but where do you think that came from in Offaly, that sort of belief and that drive to get there and maybe stay there for so long?
Well, I suppose it started in the mid-70s, really, when the team that won the All-Ireland in '80 and '81, and I suppose if you really went back far enough, it started in the Brothers' School in Burr. They won an All-Ireland B colleges, I think, about 1975. Pat Fleury was hurling and John Kelly, and there was loads of the team, David Fogarty, that played in 1980. So it was the brothers in Burr, but there's a huge passion for hurling in Offaly, and I suppose bringing in of Dermot Healy as well had a big impact as well. But if you looked at Offaly from 1975, I think up at about 81 or 82, we were the longest serving team in Division 1 hurling. Even the Corks and the Tipperaries were getting relegated, but Offaly stayed in Division 1. And in 1978 they got to a league semi-final and were beaten by Clare, who won the league. And so it was coming for a few years, and it was a big surprise when we beat Kilkenny in 1980, but it wasn't really, if you looked at the progress we were making in league hurling and being able to stay up in Division 1. And and Andy Gallagher was another man that put a lot of work into it as well, and had huge passion for Offaly. So I suppose him and Dermot Healy and Podge Mulcair, and good backroom team as well. But we'd loads of good hurlers as well. Like, we were lucky with the hurlers that came along. Like Cyril mentioned already, Johnny Flaherty, Eugene Coughlin, Pat Delaney. We got a settled team, and once we got that, there was huge character in those lads as well. Corey Corn, Pat Fleury, every one of them. I hurled with them. They were stubborn, thick men, but they were determined, and when they were together, they all worked for one another, And I was lucky to come into that team as a raw 18-year-old, and my first league game ever for Offaly was out here in O'Connor Park, and it was against Galway. And Dermot Healy says to me, "Warm up there, you're coming in." It was in November 1982, and freezing cold, and Seamus Cohen was corner back, and it wouldn't be the fella you'd be looking out for when you'd be looking for a fella to hurl on. So I went in, I got over the live anyway, but like Galway were very strong that time, very, very strong. They had a great team, So.
I remember going to Pearse Stadium in '86 after winning the Minor Ireland in September. Myself and Dahi were picked on the senior panel, and the two of us were subs, and next thing, I never started liking what was going on in front of me. This man down there, I talked to you in a second about your carry on, but he himself and Fogarty were flaking each other, and next thing, who was over in '86? Joe, you were better at that than me, but with so many managers over the years. But came down and I looking at the subs, the next thing he went past me and picked Dahi and put Dahi out. So there was Finnerty, Keady and McInerney, and put Dahi out on Keady, and he lasted about 8 minutes and he was back out beside me again, so it was tough going.
Yeah, but just going back, like the Galway team in the early 80s, like they won the All-Ireland, and in 80 probably could have won in 81, but they just had great hurlers. Like they were very similar to Offaly, big men, very strong, with loads of skill as well. So they were one of the toughest teams I ever played against. And the Galway team in 87 and 88, any team that was managed by Cyril Farrell didn't take any prisoners, and they were well drilled, well trained, and really died for the jersey.
Yeah, well said, Joe. And Noel, we'll come to your hurling in a minute. You were telling me a story last week when I rang you about today, about playing the league match against Offaly and Bor around 77. Do you want to share that with the crowd?
That was for me and you only.
You shouldn't tell me anything because it's almost more.
Played Offaly and Bor, I don't know what year, it was maybe 77 or 78. I was young enough on the team, not young in years. I was a late starter. Actually, I learned my trade in Offaly. I went to Kennedy in 1974 as a student, forestry student, and we affiliated an under-21 team in the Offaly Championship and a junior football team. And we used to play Kennedy seniors below on the pitch in front of the castle. It wasn't a pitch, it was a field. And no lines, no ref, and it getting dark. And you had Mick Clear and Paddy Delaney and Johnny Flaherty and these lads. I tell you learned your trade fairly fast. But they were great days. But coming back to the match, yeah, I was only 8 forward and I was so on through, and the nearest thing could get to me, I suppose, well, the hurls linked away. And he made contact with the back of behind the ear. And actually it was put off. I think it was an accident really, but the referee seen it as deliberate.
No, he didn't make any accidents.
But Aidan was put off to the first half, but I got bandaged up and played on, and I was going into the dressing room at half time, and Aidan waited for me just to let me know, and he said, "Lane," he said, "I missed you." And I have to get 8 stitches. I don't know if Aidan down there or not, but I always think it was an accident anyway.
But no, in your own career, you said starting out with Galway, you hadn't won anything, and to end up winning 3 All-Irelands, in that period, scoring, winning goals, winning All-Stars, like it must have been unbelievable 10 years or so.
It was a dream I had. I didn't play minor around 3-1 for Galway, so as I said, I went to Kennedy in 74 and got hardened up there and had a lot of spare time and spent all my time down the pitch. And I had a dream to play with Galway, and I did get, it was Frank Fahey from Tullamore that brought me to the panel, I think in 77. It was a great career. I was with 2 great squads. I was with the 75-80 squad first of all, and played in 3 All-Irelands with them, 79, 80 and 81, and lucky to get the 1. And delighted that Offaly got their day in the sun as well, and well deserved in 81. And then the new team again in 85 to 90 with the Keadys and the Finnertys and Lotte Mercy and Tony. So I was involved with 2 great eras, under Cyril and both eras and that. And great career, great memories. Played in 8, won 3, and the losing ones aren't great memories, but I tend to put the 3 always ahead, the 3 we won. So, and sometimes people criticise us for not beating Offaly in 81 and 85, but it wasn't so much that we lost, it was that Offaly beat us, I think. They had great teams. The 81 team were a superb team, and they won it deservingly, albeit dodgy enough and passed into the net. But, and the 85 team again, they were great teams, and it was great to see them being successful. We were very similar in many ways. It was great to see both successful.
Thanks, Noel. And Johnny, last but not least, I suppose you had a slightly different path coming in when Offaly had won, made the breakthrough. I suppose, like myself coming into the panel, you won a couple of minor All-Irelands, you won a colleges All-Ireland. Probably expected to win when you went out in the field, and you carried that confidence through coming straight off the minor team, and again had a fantastic career. And I have to say, last Sunday, your article in the Sunday Times, where I got the impression now at this late stage of looking back, saying that you probably only realising maybe now, am I right in saying that how much it meant and what you got out of it?
Yeah, I suppose really, obviously it's 20 years since 98, but I think just that whole era of Offaly and Clare and Wexford and Limerick, I think it was a very special time. There was an awful lot of big players in it as well, big characters, both on and off the field. And, when I feel very privileged to be part of all of that. I just thought hurling from probably about 4:45 in the 94 All-Ireland with that last 5 minutes that we had, all the way to probably 2000, the All-Ireland where we fell flat in that. But for that 5 or 6 years, I thought hurling was brought to a new level. The skill levels of the players and that was just outstanding. Big men, as I said, big players, as in the McMahons, Brian Cork and Cork, the Kilkennys had them, they always were there. We didn't cross too much with Galway. I had the privilege of trying to avoid Michael Coleman in a league match, and he broke my collarbone, trying to avoid him. I had the privilege of getting roasted by Pat Malone in the 1990 semi-final. We played the 94 All-Ireland with them at the semi-final. We were well on top of that. We had no problems. I think Galway were rebuilding. But it was a great time. The supporters, the colour, even when you take a look back on it now, that you go to the moment, like there's flags on the Hill 16, it was covered, whether it be Cork or it be Kilkenny or Offaly or whoever was in the All-Ireland. Whereas now people come and they wear their jersey, and it just, to me, just lacks that little bit of colour. But saying all that, special time, special players.
I do, Johnny. Well said, Johnny. No, I was thinking about something else there about your days in Kennedy. You learned how to mind your money as well, I'd say, after, did you? You learned how to mind your money in Kennedy as well, I'd say, did you? Yeah, they'd be good at that up there. Yeah. So, if we move on, lads, so we won't keep the people. The match is going to be kicking off, but I suppose times have changed, Cyril, in terms of, I suppose, Galway have been down for a long time until last year, had been thereabouts on so many occasions. Noel managed them to an All-Ireland final. Maybe got rid of them too soon, I don't know, getting into the politics of it all, but eventually made the breakthrough last year and looking exceptionally strong as we enter into this year's championship.
Yeah, well, like in Galway, with the minors winning every few years and under 21s more or less winning now and again, the expectancy to be very high. And whoever went in as manager that might have got a year or two, and like Noel got to an All-Ireland final, other fellas did too, and you didn't succeed, next thing you're gone. That was a big mistake because no one was getting a chance to settle down. The team, last year's team, they were around for a good while, but I suppose the big thing last year was Jerry McInerney kind of was the missing cog, the missing piece of the jigsaw. He started in centre back, Di Burke started in full back, and the next thing, once our backs were stable, our forwards nearly always want to score enough, no matter what six they played. We have 8 or 9 forwards that are capable on the day of being very good. We haven't the same option at the back, and once it came good, it opened up for everyone. But like when other counties looked at Waterford last year and Galway and All-Ireland final, they'd be saying, well, okay, they're in there, that could be us. To be fair to Kilkenny, when they were really good, they were so far ahead, it was like a blanket on top of everyone. Now that's gone, so it's wide open for everyone. That All-Ireland is 31. They're all capable of beating one another. It's very hard to call who's not going to come out of Leinster or who's not going to come out of Munster. You'd be very wise man to be able to tell you the two that won't come out of Leinster and Munster, because on a given day, they're all capable of beating one another. Galway, we haven't a great league. The 2 games we wanted to win, we didn't win. So we're coming from a training ground really in Athenry. The only thing is all the lads are back, or supposedly back anyway, playing okay, but they'll still be very much afraid of Offaly, because Offaly have a good record against us. Like anytime we play, it's tit for tat. Like you're talking about the games Nolan didn't play. Like I remember 2 games especially, one in Bor and one in Tullamore, league games, and if they were played now, red cards, black cards, yellow cards, you need no card because everyone would be sent off. They were tough games, but like that was the way it was. Once it was over, we went up and had a few pints together.
And Joe, I suppose you're close to the camp. I suppose that might be an understatement, but you know over the last 12, 13 years you were there as manager, and we're close enough to the breakthrough once or twice during that term, and we slip back again. But there seems to be thankfully a massive change this year under Kevin Martin, and it's a massive, but it's still a huge game. Like last year was 33 points to 111 was the result last year, which is almost a 20 points. It's 19 points defeat. So it's a big ask this evening, but there is definitely I suppose a positivity about Offaly at the moment.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, they had a reasonably good league, beating Dublin and beating Laois, and I suppose giving Kilkenny a great run as well in the league quarter final. But championship is a different ball game, and Galway are All-Ireland champions. They're coming here this evening, to defend their title, and I expect they're going to really hit the ground running. But we can't expect any more of like we have the lads back that weren't playing last year. Kevin has them organised. He has them believing in themselves, and this evening we'll know after at 8:30 this evening how we're really going. But I'd be hopeful that the lads will give it a really good shot this evening, and that's all you can ask for. Even in my time as manager, once players go out and give 100%, that's all you can ask for. That's all the supporters on the stand or in the terrace want to see, is lads giving 100%. And if you do that and you come up short, so be it, but nothing less is acceptable.
And to me now, I know an awful lot of players, but I think Offaly started maybe with 4 debutants now, but the half-back line came as a big shock to me anyway. I don't know about you, with Damien Egan moving back there and Brendan Murphy from Board. Johnny might know a bit more about it, but I would have never heard tell of them playing wing back even at club level, and to see them arriving, and Thomas Spain I think played centre forward for his club last year as well. So is that a gamble or are they going well trend?
Yeah, well I think I saw Offaly playing Cork last week in a challenge game, and basically 13 of the team that played against Cork were lining out this evening, but the 2 differences is the half-back line. The three guys that are playing in the half-back line this evening didn't play last week, so it's probably a line that we're struggling to settle on, but hopefully the lads will have a good game this evening, and sure Kevin and the lads know who's hurling best in training.
Johnny, Brendan Murphy from Borough, I think I saw him in the county final playing corner forward. Would that be right? Speedy, but I wouldn't know much about him as a winger. I don't want to be focused on him now, as a young fella starting out, but
yeah, I mean,
it's a big call.
I had the pleasure of managing Brendan. He's 6'2". He's big, he's strong, he's fast. I think he's short-sighted, which doesn't help when a high ball is coming down top of him, But the thing about it is that what he will bring he will bring that sweeping in motion. He will have the physicality of the Galway half forward. And by all accounts, he only came into the county scene probably this year or whatever, but over the last 3 or 4 weeks, he's been playing very well, So, I mean, our half-back line, as you say, is, there's a question mark over it in terms of, will they be able to compete at that area? That's the area that Galway have won their All-Ireland. They're scoring points from 50 yards out, 60 yards out, and you'll have Conor Coon and you have Glynn and you have Joe Canning, and they're all well able to put it over. So we need to tighten up on that. On the other side of it is, I like the look of our half-forward line, and you have 3 very big men there. And, if it is Joe Berrigan or Conor Mahon is going in on McInerney, they're like for like. So, what we would be hoping here is that Conor Mahon not alone breaks even, but puts McInerney on the back foot. And then all of a sudden things drift back up. So it's like everything, you need to win your half-back line. And to win your half-back line, the opposition half-forward line can't be in the game. So what we're probably trying to do here is win the half-forward line. The other thing I like the likes of Shane Kinsella there in the middle of the field. In terms of, he scored 3 or 4 fabulous points there against Dublin in Croke Park. He came on there, he missed the first game in the club championship, second day against Borough, again 3 and 4 more points. So he'll be a scorer now, beyond probably David Burke. So, you Offaly have a shot there at that. So, it'll be tough.
It's probably a big, like last year, I think we were all probably the most despondent we've ever been walking away from some of these matches, playing with a double sweeper against Galway and against Waterford, and just basically throwing in the towel. I just think it's refreshing. We're going with obviously an attack-minded side, but have to give some protection to our backline. But it does look very much an exciting setup with very experienced forwards and very inexperienced backline. I suppose it's an unusual. We might be lacking a little bit of balance.
Yeah, we are. I suppose most teams actually end up the other way around. They'll have a very strong back line, and the forward line might be, a bit suspect. And I think we're the other way about it. The one thing that I just the optimism against Dublin in Croke Park. One of the key things to me was the structure that Offaly had that day. And they brought that even to the games against Limerick and Galway, in that first half. They held that structure. And once you hold your structure, you're in with a shout. If the Offaly backs are going to start following Galway forwards all over the place, listen, we won't have to wait till 7:30 or 8:30, 7:10 will tell us enough, But if they hold their structure, work hard, half-back line drop back, you know, Galway will be in for a very tough game. And you don't know, I mean, you know, the gas thing about it is that no one expected us to kind of put it up to Kilkenny. And, you know, with 5 minutes left, you're in a draw game. And, you know, right, Teacher Reid puts up the hand and he scores a point, and that kind of gets across the line. There's nothing to say that with 5 minutes to go today that it'll be Joe Bergen's turn or Oisin Kelly's turn, you know. And, you know, once Galway will be expected to beat Offaly 10 or 11 points. And when that isn't happening, then it becomes a little bit of a dogfight. You know, anything can happen. And sure, if we can get a goal, whether it's to throw it into the net or kick it into the net, you know, to win. You know, that's all we
You can see now why he was so competitive. He's always expecting to win, which is fantastic. And Noel, I suppose this Galway team making the breakthrough last year, and I suppose you're missing me not to mention Tony Keady, your great teammate, and you know, all of Offaly, obviously. Very sad to see what happened to Tony and the late a couple of weeks ago, and his wife and kids. It's been an awful tragedy for Galway, but it seemed to maybe drive them over the line a bit last year as well. And but anyway, that's an aside. But very, very sad. And Galway back to defend All Ireland, and many people's favourites to do so.
Yeah, sure. It was an awful loss and an awful shock. Tony was at the All Ireland semi-final, enjoyed it with his family, and the following day he was in the fight for his life and subsequently passed. But you know, former teammates Joe McDonough, Niall McInerney, Pascal Ryan, lads that you would have played with and soldiered with and travelled with him, home and abroad and away and tours and that, and great characters, personalities, and you know, it's a fact of life. You know, people pass, and it was very sad. But Galway, and listening to Johnny there, well, you know, I know now why I used to get such close attention from the Offaly backs, because they were all short-sighted, I think. But this evening, Galway were coming in here on the back of a poor league. We must remember that. They struggled against Laois, they struggled against Antrim. They won a couple of games in. Offaly were going well against them in the stadium, but they left it too open in the back, and we got goals to punish them. Then we had 2 games we wanted to win, and we didn't win them, against Limerick and against Wexford. You know, it was put up to us. So the celebrations and all of that has taken its toll. And then we had club championship a few weeks ago. So the boys are only back together maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And we don't know either what's the mindset. If it's not right against Offaly, you'll pay a heavy price. And if Offaly will come in right this evening, there's no doubt about that. They'll be up for it. There'll be skin and hair flying out there, you know. And that's the side with Offaly. Skillful hurlers, big men in the forwards now, as Johnny said, the half-forward line. And if their half-back line can hold our forwards, you know, we could be in for a right tight game. But Galway are expected to win it by 10 or 12 points, and that's dangerous. So, but I do believe that if Galway, if the mindset is right, and I believe we all Dooley will have that right. They were down in Fort Island last weekend, golfing together and having a bit of crack and all of that, and getting back in the groove. And if they are, I think they might be too strong for Offaly, but it will be competitive, and you know, hopefully that it'll be a good game. And it's great to see Offaly coming back anyway, and long may that continue, and that it won't be too long before they're back as Leinster champions and contesting the All Ireland again.
Thanks, Noel.
We went down to Ennis one time before a championship, and you ruined it. Alright?
Well,
On a bonding weekend.
well, I warned Pat Fleury about that. That was in 2000. He said to me, we're going to go to Ennis for a bonding weekend. And I said, don't go. Don't give the lads the green light to go drinking, because they're going to drink even without you giving them the green light. And I just remember getting up on a Sunday morning with Joe. We were after having an early night, and we came down and we said, would we get a late breakfast? We had a bit of lying, and when the lift door opened, we could hear a singing coming from the bar. And if I'm not mistaken, Johnny, you were singing Sweet Caroline into a Budweiser bottle at 11:30 in the morning. But anyway, that's another day's work. You brought it up.
Well, subsequently, Clare got knocked out of the championship about a month later, and we went on to play the All Ireland.
They were beaten in the first round by Tip Hammered, and we hammered Wexford in the Leinster semi-final. So, but we're not recommending that as a way of life. No. But thanks for bringing it up. Go on, a little more. Just, I suppose, on the 98 team, the lads are here this evening, and I suppose it was an interesting mixture, that 98 team. There was a lot of us that were very experienced, I suppose, or getting old, around a long time, and there was a lot of new lads who came in 98, and I think it made an awful difference. It really jizzed up the camp. But we don't be looking back, but we're a funny squad, as you said last Sunday, Johnny. We don't get together very often, and maybe we will do something later on in the year. But it's great to see the lads, like, fantastic teammates, very loyal, and we don't meet, but when we do meet, and I thought Johnny's line in the paper last Sunday, Joe, I don't know if you saw it, but he said, Ian McGeechan, the coach of the British Lions, at one stage said, in 20 years' time, you'll walk down the road and you might look across the road and see one of the lads and you just nod, and that's all you have to do. That bond is there. So, fantastic bunch, Joe. Great team.
Yeah, sure. And I suppose, like Noel Lane said earlier, Noel played with 2 Galway teams, I played with 2 Offaly teams, and great characters in the 90s team as well. Very, very skillful, and loads of thickness, stubbornness. They had a bit of everything, you know, but great people to be in the trenches with. You know, you go from every one of that team, you know, and all great. And I don't think we had a wrong word among any of us at any time down the years. And not in public anyway. but great players. Like we you know, from 94, 95, we probably slipped up in 96 and 97, got back in 98, probably slipped up in 99, got back in 2000. But from 94 to 2000, we were there or thereabouts. Won the league in 91 with basically the same team as well. So it was a great decade, and some savage warriors there, and great Offaly men.
I mean, you know, the 98 team, I suppose, for the likes of myself anyway, you're a lot more mature than you were earlier on, and but you know, I see Paddy Mullaire down there, you know, and Colin Cassidy, and we had a panel of probably about 20, and they all made an impact. What we have to realise is that we had about 8 games that year, and I think we actually ended up with 9 different midfielders, and lads came in. Even Michael tried midfield for one of the games, I think, you know. But so there was the whole lot of it, and you know, good characters, stories, whatever. But we weren't all that serious, you know. I just felt that there's serious lads about hurling, and they live, breathe and die hurling. I just thought our Offaly team, well, a number of us were kind of, well, listen, you know, it happened, we're training Tuesday night, we're training Friday night, we're playing a match on Sunday, and you know, once it's over, it's kind of over, and you go off and do your own thing. But when it came to the match, there were different kettle of fish. Once they crossed the white line, all of a sudden, you know, in the likes of the Troys and Hannemies and Kevin Martin and Kevin Keenan and the Dooleys and everyone, that once you came across to that, it was all about winning, and it was all about, you know, doing your best and then getting it out there. And it wasn't really, it didn't make a difference who we were playing, you know. Obviously, the bigger the opposition, the better it was for us, the better the challenge. But each and every one of them stood up, and it's a non-natural thing. I mean, you can't coach it. Like, I mean, you know, you can't say, like, I mean, Mick going back in, wing back, you know, and just slots in there, handy as you like, you know. You just can't coach that. You can't tell a corner forward, go back, play a wing back, and he knows how to play it, you know. Although you don't know how to play it, just had one good game. Right there. So there is that kind of a thing with the team, and it was special, you know.
It was indeed. So, look, ladies and gentlemen, we could stay here. If we got into the stories of the old days on it, and maybe for another day, and we'd have a great night here with these lads. But look, we want to get over to the match. But it's been fantastic just to share a few little memories with 4 massive legends of the game. So to Cyril, to Joe, to Noel and to Johnny, thanks very much for taking time to come up and see me. Thank you.